All right, I am just giving Zoom a chance to talk to Facebook and make this live. How is everybody doing on this Friday? I am, here we are. Let me see if I can share this. Oh, this is an older one. Where's the new one that's coming up? I just received another website review request, and I was in between client calls, and I figured I would hop on and share some feedback and some thoughts I have. Because one of the great things about these reviews is that while it may not be your website, there is a lot to be learned. Okay, where'd it go? Did it crash? I might need to kill it and try again. I think it's dying. Okay, oh, says I'm live. Great. Now the question is where? Good times. Go try to find it once more. And if I can't find it, I won't worry about it. And I will just share my screen and get going. I was hoping to share it to my personal page as well, but it's not going to let me do that. Here it is. All right, thank you all as I learn how to do this. I'm going to share it on my own timeline. All right, post. All right, enough of that busy work. Now onto the good stuff. I'm going to share my screen so I can show you the site I'm reviewing today, and we can start to go through it. It's actually a really good site. When I first saw it, I was like, I wonder what I'm going to say, because this site is doing so many things right. But as always, the more I looked at it, the more I had a few ideas I wanted to share. And that's the great part of the website review is there's always ways you can enhance your site. This site, they said they've had it for quite a while. They've had many renditions. Some of the things I love about this site is this is Mandala Custom Homes, gorgeous photography, and so important in this industry. They're showcasing their work, beautiful. And right off the bat, custom build your dream home and a new lifestyle. Wonderful. So they've got a great heading here. They've got their testimonials, beautiful stuff. And visually, as you go down the page, you immediately start seeing, different examples of their work. And then they talk about some of the benefits and some of the things they do in their work. So content-wise, I love this site. Visually, it's actually pretty good too. I will say what makes it look a little bit dated is the font size and the fact that there are margins, the fact that it's boxed. So if I was to go, and I'm using something called Inspect Element that allows me to sort of show you what an edit might look like without it sticking. And if I were to possibly play with this site, I would consider getting rid of the boxed effect. And it does distort the images a little bit. You have to play with how they sit on a page. But you can see how, I'm going to open this in a different screen. Hopefully you can see how going from a boxed effect, which this is, where the photo is good, but the site itself does look dated, to a widescreen, where we might need to massage the photos a little bit, but now the header and the footer are widescreen. You can see how it makes it a more contemporary design, and that's something to consider. Another thing you might want to do is I'm noticing up here in the header, these fonts are pretty small. If I use my little font tool, I'm guessing this is, 14 point. And again, that is something that I would say is dating. Fonts now, people are starting around 16 point. So if I were to work on this site, one of the things I would suggest is we bump up these fonts. So let me just see if I can quickly do this here. As a for example, not quite getting what I want yet. Give me a moment. Let me see if I can just inform it what I want from it. We'll do it this way. Font size of, let's say, 16, better, 18. And I could use a little color up there. I almost would, I'm debating making that guy like burgundy. I don't know, for some reason I like color. 20 is probably as big as I'd go. But I do like the fact now that we have the phone number standing out a little bit more, because ultimately you do want them to call you. You want them to contact and call. The other thing I'd probably do is this part also I would bump up a smidge, Now, this is something that you may not be able to do yourself. You may need somebody like me to do. And sorry about that, but I am showing you, I do want to show you what's possible. And I have some other ideas for this site where you can do it, so you won't need to worry about necessarily hiring someone, but again, showing you it's possible. We made this just a little bit bigger. Let's see, 175 pixels. Let's try 200. I might make the logo a little bit bigger, and then skillfully designed, expertly crafted. That's important. That's your tagline. And one thing I love about this site is they've got it as words, which means Google can see these words. So one of the questions that came up in the review request, because I'm going to address, so they asked about SEO and about links and about their gallery, is how to be found for certain keywords. And the rule of thumb is Google only knows what you tell it. You might know you're good at something, but if that's not the words you use, if you don't blog about it, if you don't write about it, if you don't use it on your page, how does Google know? And so if you're looking for something to be found, one of the things it also looks at is how early is it on the page. Things at the tippity top, those are important things to Google. So this is a great place to consider using that word you want to be found for. Now, it has to work. Okay, yeah, this is 11 point. It has to work, but let's just do a little bit of padding on the left side. Just moving it over. Yeah, and so I mean, you kind of want to balance these out, but I do want this information to be more front and center. Let me go and make it a little bit smaller now. You can see what you think. So, I mean, this is improving it. We obviously center this a little bit more. It's not balanced, but I would suggest considering making this full screen. Let's just compare. We'll do a quick little example comparison. So we started with this where the phone number and the skillfully designed, expertly crafted were not popping out as much, and it looked a little bit more dated. And in less than 5 minutes, I've already added some code, which is allowing the site to look a little bit more modern. What I love about down here is the spacing. This font is a little small, but it's not bad. And the best part is your spacing, which means from line to line, there's white space, which makes it easier for me to scan and read it. It is a little bit small, but it would be much worse if you didn't have that. I will say the testimonial, I'm on the fence. Gray on gray is hard to read. Black on white is the easiest, and as you come closer together, the harder it is to read. But at the same time, your content is more important. So I might darken the text a little or lighten the gray a little, but it's probably okay for a comment. One thing you might want to consider doing is up here you've got your text in your intro, but there's no links in this paragraph. You always want to be pulling people deeper into the website. So if you have an opportunity to, when you mention a service, link to that service deeper in your site. When you say, we would love to be the ones to help you build the home of your dreams, link to the contact page, ask them to give us a call. Let's talk about it. If you want to see more examples, link to it. So really ask and bring them deeper into your site, whereas this is more something where I passively read it. I might click on your galleries, beautiful galleries, nice touch. I passively read it, good information. Another key place for if you have keywords you want to be found for, insert them. I don't have a note here of the word you mentioned you want to be found for, but the more you mention it in your copy, you don't want it to be every other word. Google will look at that and say, you're spamming me. You want it to come up naturally, but you do need to use it. And then your footer is great. Really nothing to say here. Easy contact info, address, all of the good stuff. It's even up to date. All in all, really nicely done. Let me just check on font size. I want to say that's 14. I'm just curious how it would look if we bumped it up to, yeah. Let me see if I did font size of 16 pixels. Line height. Yeah, so a little bit bigger, but all in all, actually I'm wondering, is that what you had before? Okay, a little bit bigger. It's not bad. I really what's keeping your text good is the spacing. The white space, you're using white space well. You're not spreading it out so far that I don't know there's more on the page, but you're giving me space so I can digest things in chunks. This is a really well laid out homepage. As you said, you've had your site since 2000. This was obviously not the 2000 version, but you've had it. Looking at your navigation, I would suggest one thing. We tend to put the about first because we're thinking people want to know who we are. But what we forget is people don't care who we are until they decide to work with us. So I'm the consumer, I have needs, I have questions. I'm going to care about what are your products and services? What does getting started look like? What's information you share with me? What is some of your portfolio pieces? About, stick that over here by your contact and your news. I only will learn about you once I read all this stuff. And honestly, if you've scattered testimonials throughout, I may or may not look to see who you are. I may simply know that you do what I need, you seem to be qualified, and I'm ready to schedule an appointment with you. So let's go look at the contact page. Just curious what you have there. If you don't have a caching plugin, you might want to consider one. I'm noticing the load time. Caching plugins like WP Rocket will help with speed, as do good hosts like WP Engine, but all in all, your site isn't that slow. I just have noticed a little bit on your spinners, a little bit of lag. I'm wondering, so I don't know how many people come to your office versus are trying to fill out your form. I'm almost wondering if I would move this to this information sidebar here and split the page between your form and this information 50-50, just to get this form higher on the page, because really people are wanting to contact you, not see a map. So I'd probably bump that up higher. And then let me see what form software you're using, because I'd like these fields to be a little bit wider. AQ, all right, I'm not familiar with this one, but I would ideally, the balance is off. You've got all this white space. I would ideally like these fields to be double the width. That's something a web developer could help you with, but that's probably how I would restructure this page a bit. Pull this content up because you already have the image pushing you down. You've already got some white space here before the map pushing you down. And I have to work pretty darn hard to get to your contact form and your phone number. It's in the header, but the contact form definitely. So that would be one piece of advice I'd give there. Now, in your request, you asked me about SEO and about broken links. There is a plugin called, I think it's a link checker, broken link checker. Let me see, go over here, which you can run on your site. It's a plugin you install. Ping me if you don't know how to install plugins. But it is a WordPress plugin. And what it will do is go through your site, look for any broken links, and alert you. Here we go, broken link checker, exactly. So this is something you may want to consider installing if that's a concern. The other thing is I noticed you didn't have an SEO plugin. I really noticed this when I went to, well, actually, we could even look at this page. How I figured it out was I looked at your code. Warning, scary stuff ahead. What I saw was that effectively your titles were always, kind of the same. And your description was really where it came out. Contact us to start designing your very own home. Where is it? Oh, this one. So this one's a little different than what I saw. Interesting. So I had looked at one of your blog posts and it didn't look like you had handcrafted your description and your title. So description and title, I usually suggest the plugin Yoast SEO as a really good and easy one to use. This would be it. You can find it again in the plugin directory. Why do I care? Well, the title is when someone searches what they see up here, and the description is what they see here. If you don't tell it what to use, it just uses the first sentence of the page and cuts it off wherever it does. However, let's look at Yoast. Yoast SEO, the #1 WordPress SEO plugin. So they want to be found not only for their brand name of Yoast SEO, they want to be found for WordPress and plugin. They also want to highlight to you that they're #1. So this is intentionally handcrafted so it shows up like this. Also, this is not the first sentence of the site. Instead, they are handcrafting it. Yoast is the most complete WordPress SEO plugin. It handles the technical optimization of your site and assists with optimizing your content. So it is really controlling, when it comes up in search, how it presents itself to the customer. And so that is what using a plugin like Yoast SEO allows you to do. It not only allows you to add your keywords here that you want to be found for, it also allows you to control how you show up in a search result. So that's a very powerful one to use. And then in addition to that, as I said, whichever word you're looking for, you want to make sure that you are using it throughout your blog posts and just scattering it around your site. Your final question had to do about your gallery, and I did notice on one of the pages there was a complaint on the sidebar, some software might be out of date. Galleries get tricky. There's a lot to, say, so something's going on here. It's a balancing act. Yours looks fine. I would need to talk to you one-on-one to really understand where you are hitting limits of usability for your portfolio. But all in all, outside of bumping up some fonts and stuff, I think you have yourself a fabulous site. So I hope, one piece of advice, since we're on this page, don't center text. Center text, except for headers, is really hard on the eye because you keep having to jump around as to where the beginning of a sentence is. Center your title, left line your text. Little tip. All right, I hope, actually, let me check Facebook before I sign off if there's been any questions. I hope others have found this valuable. This one's not too bad, 16 minutes, good. I'm hoping to keep these a little tighter since I know you guys don't want to watch a 30-minute review. But some of the key things we talked about in here was SEO, looking at broken links, and also just how you can have, your header and stuff. Okay. All right, not seeing any questions there. And I will check on my homepage, but I think we are done. You guys get to see all the chatter on my own Facebook screen. Hopefully nothing comes across that shouldn't. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful. Let me know in the URL in the header section here of the live is a link to request your own. If you'd like me to take a look at your site, I'm happy to give you feedback. As you've seen, sometimes sites need a lot of love, sometimes they need a little love, but the goal is that we move them forward so they can work even harder for your business. This is Jocelyn Mozak, your WordPress expert, signing off. Have yourself a fabulous rest of your day. Bye-bye.